Welcome to Downpour.com's interview series. I'm Rick Bleiweiss, and today it's my pleasure to be speaking with Stephanie Laurens. Welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us today. Congratulations on your newest release. Your novels have been described by the Columbus Dispatch as an elaborate wedding cake, rich, decadent, and covered in layers of sumptuous treats. That's very cool. Her stories are well-crafted, honest, and fast-paced. How would you describe your novels?
I think I would say that they're fun, they're entertaining, and more than anything else, they're designed to leave you with a smile on your face at the end.
Well, it sounds like that review captured it then. When did you discover your interest in the romance genre?
I first started reading romances when I was about 13, and my mother, who was also a very big reader, she actually was working at that time with a lot of other women in an office, and one of her co-workers loaned her the complete set of Georgette Heyer Regency romances. And those were the first that I'd ever read, and both my mother and I, we just read the whole lot. The new word is glomming, and that's what we did. We just sat and we read and we read and we read. I read a lot of other things after that, but none ever captured me like those books did. And so when I came to writing to entertain myself, which is how I actually got into writing, that's where I went back to. Georgette Heyer, like so many other romance authors, started it all.
You've developed wildly popular series where fans can follow their favorite characters from book to book. What qualities do you consider when you're developing a character? Is character's longevity a concern and planned, short or long?
I suppose that the first thing that when I'm developing a character, there's a number of different layers of characters. There are your main characters, your protagonist, your hero and heroine, and they have to some extent fit a mould, but the mould, you can play with it a little as well to make it more interesting and literally to challenge myself more than anything else. So those characters are more defined. Not defined down to little things, but defined in the general sense. They have to have a certain type of personality because that's what I write about. And for instance, I have once tried to write a very young, very innocent, not very able heroine just because she was so young. And it was hopeless. I just couldn't do it. I kept going, no, you can't do that. So I decided, no, I'll just stick with what I'm usually writing, and that works for me well. But a lot of the other characters are secondary characters, and they are sometimes so much more diverse. Your question about longevity, I have one particular character, Lady Osbalston, who goes through so many of my books, and her longevity is a concern. I've actually had to sort of devise a way, well, hers and a few of the others, the old ladies who are in the background. And readers get very, very fond of them. And you can't just wipe them out and just, oh, she died. You've got to be a bit careful of things like that.
Your novels are set in the British Regency period, about 1811 to 1820. What type of research do you do for your novels, and what was the appeal of this era for you?
What research I did was from that time at 13 when I first started reading Georgette Heyer's novels, I became very, very interested in that whole period of history, but also of those particular types of Regency romance. And because I'm in Australia, I actually had access to a lot of Regency romances, and my husband and I lived in England for 4 years as well.
Listen to the full interview at Downpour.com.